Hello, everybody. Welcome to Moment of Clarity. If you want to see these continue, if you want to see these keep going, then please share it with somebody. I don't ask for your money. I just ask for you to share it and let people know about it. Many of you ask me what the answers are. You correctly point out that I spend a lot of time telling you how awful everything is, and then you get angry and you send emails and you say, so what's the fucking answer, jackass? You know, just like when a regular journalist on CNN tells you that climate change has turned large parts of California into a charcoal briquette, or they tell you that Donald Trump has the emotional intelligence of a hedgehog with its head caught in a bear trap. Whenever they inform you of these things, they then say, and here now is the handy dandy answer to the problem. Oh, wait, my mistake. They never do that. They never do that. They never give you the answer to fucking anything. So why is it my job to fix everything? You do it. I'm tired. But I get your point. You're saying I'm different than the mainstream media because I'm one of those funny ha-ha clown journalists, and clown journalists are supposed to have all the answers. Fair point. But actually, I do often give the answers, but I think because I sprinkle them here or there and they aren't like banner headings before every show, everyone just ignores them and tells me I need answers. Maybe I just need to make it more obvious. Maybe I should rename the show like, here are all the answers with Lee Camp. Write them down. Maybe I'll just call the show Write Them Down. It has a nice ring to it. Anyway, here's yet another solution to one of the biggest problems in our world, hunger. I talk about hunger and extreme poverty a lot. I talk about how many people go hungry every day. I talk about how most of this world only make a couple of dollars a day, and they're expected to live on that. I mean, in the US, a couple of dollars wouldn't buy you the tax on the extra butter upcharge for your popcorn at the movie theater. But we don't have movie theaters anymore because it's a fucking pandemic. So I've just been asking the theaters to send me the extra butter in the mail, and then I lick it out of the envelope while I watch the Steven Seagal marathon. And that is that way I don't have to feel that the virus is stopping me from living my best life. As long as Steven Seagal is involved, I think everything's going fine. Point being, one city in Brazil has fucking done something about hunger. They've gotten rid of it. The city is Belo Horizonte, and it's home to about 2.5 million people. So this isn't like an island with 14 people and a baby goat, and you're like, oh, they solved poverty, and you're like, 14 people and a baby goat, and now they don't have a baby goat because they were working on answering the hunger problem. No, this is the real deal. Millions of people. And here's from the Nation of Change article, which that's an outlet you can definitely check out, Nation of Change. Quote, in 1993, Belo Horizonte enacted a municipal law that established a citizen's right to food, creating a commission of government officials, farmers, labor leaders, and others charged with a mandate to provide access to food as a measure of social justice. Think about that shit. The people have a right to food. The hell is that? You're not supposed to have a right to food. In order to get food in this world, you're supposed to slave away at a job you hate that you think is a choice, but really it's not, and then you call it freedom. And if you can't find a job you hate, then you're supposed to go hungry, or maybe you can find a church or some shit where they actually read the parts of that book that they have that say feed the poor and take care of the least among you and all that crap that normally gets ignored, so that we can focus on the parts that say a woman should be subservient and cook you loads of coriander, lamb, and spelt for dinner. Oh, gotta love me some spelt. So you find one of those churches that actually read the book, and they might have like an old can of SpaghettiOs or some crap like that. But don't worry about the expiration date on that. That stuff can withstand nuclear winter. So even if it's green inside, you just go ahead and you drink that down. You'll be all set. Oh man, that reminds me. When I was a kid, I ate roughly, I'm gonna say, 40,000 Chef Boyardee microwavable ravioli cups. You remember those? And they come, I don't know if they still make them, but they come in the cup that you microwave. And I guarantee you they didn't test what a microwave oven does to those little plastic cups. So I am definitely still to this day filled with plastic particles. I basically laminated my lower intestine. Chef Boyardee should be forced to answer for that shit. All right? Look, this is the land of the free. If you want to kill everyone with little plastic cups, then I say go for it. You should have that right. But you should at least warn us. It should say on the side of the thing, warning, you're about to spackle your gastrointestinal system with a ravioli plastic paste that won't even go away after you die. So they'll still see it in the skeleton. You know those bodies exhibits that you can pay to go see where they plastinate human beings? They take their insides and turn them into plastic. What they don't tell us is that actually they didn't do that. That's just people who ate too much Chef Boyardee microwavable ravioli cups. I think that's what that is. And I think a couple of episodes I told you I'm also largely Teflon to this day. So yeah, it was a rough childhood eating plastic and Teflon. Point being, by proclaiming that in a society, citizens have a right to food, a right to not go hungry, Belo Horizonte then created the infrastructure that made sure people got that food. It's that simple. Belo Horizonte has officials and farmers and labor leaders who make sure the process runs smoothly. They make it a point of their society that everybody gets fucking food. It's not really that hard. Let me see if I can break this down a little more. You know how we make it a priority in America that there are functioning roads? Or even if you're watching this in another country, you probably also have functioning roads. You know how that works? And there are all these little construction people. And their whole job is to run around fixing the roads all the time. Every 10 minutes, you're like, fucking construction. And yeah, it's annoying, but it also means you aren't driving on dirt roads very often, unless you're going to pick up your shipment of moonshine from Cletus, 70 miles outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm sorry to make fun of Kentucky, but Kentucky, you know what you did. You know what you did. And I'm sure right now a lot of you are going, well, you should see the roads in my city. There are potholes that could swallow up the presidential motorcade. And I hear you, but for the most part, our country does have functioning roads. That's because we decided it's a priority. It allows businesses to run more smoothly. It allows people, all types of people. It allows poor people to get places, but it also allows rich people to get places. But in terms of feeding poor people, you see, that doesn't really help rich people at all. Not immediately. So we don't really make it a priority. We don't give people a right to not starve or be hungry. It doesn't fit into capitalism's basic rules. If a thing doesn't get you profit, then fuck it. That's in the official textbooks. If you don't get profit from it, fuck it. So there's really no difference between building and maintaining roads and ending hunger and extreme poverty. A society decides they're doing it. They build the infrastructure to do it, and they fucking did it. There is no reason for hunger in this country or even in the whole planet, considering we live in a post-scarcity world now. But let's start with baby steps. I'm getting too deep into it. I don't want to upend too much of our ridiculous reality all at once. I don't want to dig too deep right now. All right, that's been your moment of clarity on how to end hunger. If you like this episode, please share it. I don't ask for your money. I just ask for you to share it with people. Let them know. And I do these every single weekday, except sometimes at leecamp.com. And, it's censored, it's suppressed. So if you really want to see them, you're probably going to have to go to leecamp.com and check it out each day. All right, let's see if anybody has any interesting questions, any thoughts. Complete sentences are always helpful, or at least sentence fragments that can come together into some sort of thought. Many people saying wonderful things. Thank you for commenting. I do appreciate the comments, even if they aren't questions that I can answer. This person's talking about Brazil. Says sounds like a Lula program, not Bolsonaro. Yes, I said in the moment of clarity that it goes back to 1996 or 7 or something that it was passed in that town. I don't know that I doubt it was done by Lula, but your point is taken that Bolsonaro is a fascist who would definitely not consider food a human right. Let's see. Anything else? Faint signals for Vegas as ending capitalism and going vegan. Well, I've talked about vegan and vegetarian stuff before, but in terms of ending capitalism, yes, that's a big part of getting beyond. We've got to get beyond. I think I mentioned this on a previous one. The word economics, the field of economics was basically hardly talked about until World War II. The word was basically not used. There's a great study as to how often the word economics and things were appeared in the news, and it was basically non-existent until World War II. And yet now it rules our world. The economics we have fucking has taken over. And GDP was the other one that basically didn't come into play until World War II. Well, economics was a little earlier than that, but it wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't that economics definitely existed, but it wasn't that prevalent as like a talking point in your daily conversations. And GDP didn't exist, I think, at all till World War II, till someone came up with it. And now we let these things rule our world. We let people go hungry. We let people die. We destroy countries. We destroy lives, all based on these economics that have only really been in the mainstream for less than 100 years. It's fucking insane. Let's see. Someone wants me to run for office. No thanks. Thanks for those of you saying you've been following this stuff for a long time. I've been doing it for a long time. But what's fun is now I'm more suppressed than ever before. Fewer people see my stuff than ever before, thanks to the impressive level of censorship and suppression the big tech companies have perpetrated against all of us who are outside of the allowable thoughts on your mainstream corporate airwaves. And so because of that, because fewer than ever before, well, not than ever before, but fewer than, let's say, the past 8 years see my videos, it means I get to talk to you guys one-on-one. How exciting is that? I get like 10 people to watch a video now, and that means I get to chat with each of you. So that's fun. Let's see. John Mathis asks an interesting question, or poses it interesting. You say, are political leaders conditioned to screw over the masses yearning to breathe free? I like that, taking that expression. But the system is set up in such a way that basically you don't get to the point. Now, he said political leaders, so let's say the top of the political echelon. You don't get to that point unless you've already basically been corrupted and taken over, or you came in as a sociopath. So those are basically the two things that happen, although the most common is coming in as a sociopath. I say it often, the average is 1 out of 100 people, maybe more, are sociopaths, have no empathy for others. And those people are the ones who win at our game, at our unfettered, capitalist, ravenous, step on your neighbor's throat game. They're the ones who are going to win. They're not troubled by their behaviors and the exploitation of others, which is how the system is started from, is based on day one. It's on the exploitation of others. So they're the ones that are going to naturally win. They're the ones going to run across with the ribbon. I did it. I got to the tops. It's the sociopaths. So for the most part, now this is not 100%, but it's a great deal. And then there's occasionally an outlier that is a rogue and doesn't fit into that system. I would say Bernie Sanders is an example. Now, even Bernie Sanders, in order to be a political animal that's been in the Senate for 30 years, has plenty of things that people can critique about him. I mean, even before, the main thing people hate him for is sheepdogging to Hillary and that kind of stuff. But even before that, there's things people can criticize about him. His foreign policy is not always amazing and things like that. But even so, even with those criticisms, he is the outlier of this system. And because of the internet, which did create an information revolution which they're now shutting down, hence the suppression I just talked about, it allowed people like him to achieve success in a way they never had before. Bernie Sanders would have never gotten to that debate stage if it hadn't been for the internet, right? He never would have gotten that close to beating all of the hurdles that the DNC put in his way against Hillary and against Biden if it weren't for the internet. So the internet allowed for these outliers to do better than they really ever had, or at least in many, many years. And it was very dangerous to the ruling elite for that brief period. But those are the exceptions that prove the rule. Bernie Sanders is an exception of how this system works. And the sociopaths and the big money are able to really have the system on lock so that you aren't going to get people in Congress almost at all, but especially not in a powerful position in Congress. And a lot of the system is outside of Congress, right? Military-industrial complex runs on its own. It doesn't matter what the fucking Congress is doing, really. It just does whatever the fuck it wants. They've actually said that right now as Trump tries to bring some troops home. The Pentagon has said they just don't do it. So there you go. But anyway, that's the exception that proves the rule. So I don't think to kind of answer your question, I don't think that politicians have to be taught how to be the horrible exploitative sociopaths they are. I think they show up on day one usually like that. I think those are the people that win. Red Sea Socialists, wait, were you the one? Oh, sorry. V.S. Adams says suppression is real. Consortium News. Consortium News is an outlet I write for. Sometimes you should check out my articles there. I hope you do. Someone else says, V.S. Adams says CN Live. So you can check out CN Live. They do live streams. But my articles are at Consortium News, and yeah, they've lost a lot of hits, but really, it's not just them. It's all of those of us, largely independent journalists and media that are outside the mainstream. Anybody you're not seeing on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News, anybody you're not seeing on those main corporate airwaves has been heavily suppressed. And even ones I have problems with. I have a lot of problems nowadays with Democracy Now! But I know from previous articles and their analytics, Democracy Now! Has lost something like half or 60% of all their Google traffic over the past 4 years, or maybe it's the last few years. And that is by design. That's not like, they changed the algorithm and they didn't realize it would hurt independent journalism. No, they knew what they were fucking doing. They fucking knew what they were doing. V.S. Adams also recommends Gray Zone. Gray Zone is great. Everyone should check it out. Let's see. Pierre is asking, do I think Biden will end what he started in Yemen? I didn't even notice where he promised that. He says he promised that, but by the way, if you're watching on Facebook, please head over to youtube.com/Moment of Clarity, or if you're watching this on the other Moment of Clarity channels, check which one you're watching it on. Please go subscribe at youtube.com/Moment of Clarity. Yes, I hate using these platforms, but that is the channel that is less suppressed, and I'm able to get to more of you. So please subscribe at youtube.com/Moment of Clarity. So to answer Pierre, do I think Biden will stop what he's done in Yemen? Generally, our empire only stops what it's done in these countries, either when they've achieved their goal. So they haven't really stopped in Iraq, but they achieved their goal in Iraq. The goal was to basically collapse it and put in a puppet government, and then Iraq would be no risk to our geopolitical power and would not be a risk because they're outside our central banking system. And all of that's happened. So either our empire succeeds or we act like we're leaving and we don't, which, considering we're funding the fucking genocide in Yemen, we're giving Saudi Arabia the weapons to bomb the people in Yemen, but we're not, as far as I know, there aren't U.S. soldiers in Yemen. And so the way to pretend we're done with that is to come out with a statement saying we've ended our operations in Yemen or we're not supporting it anymore, whatever, some statements, but really nothing changes. It's similar with Syria, right? With Syria, we act like our major operations have stopped, but it's the same as it was. And we've largely, the United States government didn't get Assad didn't get him out of power, which is what they wanted, but they created nearly a failed state, and they're not done. They continue with the economic sanctions that are crushing Syria, and people don't talk about this. The sanctions on Syria make it so people can't get gasoline, can't have electricity, can't get food. I mean, the hunger and destruction we cause around the world is it's tough to even put it on some sort of scale. It's fucking horrific. Someone just said, I believe Lee Camp is on Rockfin. Yes, I am on Rockfin. It is, and I know I went with a really clever URL. It's rockfin.com/Lee Camp. Is where you can find my stuff on Rockfin, which I'm not going to get into all the details of Rockfin. It's kind of confusing, but basically it rewards creators with cryptocurrency, and creators have been able to sustain what they do by being at Rockfin, more so than a lot of other networks and channels, more so than Patreon, I think, to some extent. So I have both. I have a Rockfin. I also have a Patreon for my podcast called patreon.com/commoncensored. But Rockfin, check it out. Let's see. Oh, Mad Mom is talking about my Rockfin. My Rockfin right now is free, but there is, I'm going to assume Mad Mom is a woman. Maybe that's wrong of me. Maybe it could be a male mom, but she's talking about you can pay $10 at Rockfin and you get the entirety, a month, I think, and you get the entirety of all their premium content. So any creator, you get their premium content. So it's $10, period. Whereas Patreon, you're paying a little money to everybody. This is just one $10 thing to Rockfin a month, and you get all the premium. My stuff, I haven't created any premium content at Rockfin yet, so all my stuff is free over there so far. But let's see. Any other questions? Probably wrap this up in a minute. Please check out my podcasts, Common Censored and Government Secrets. Government Secrets is with Graham Elwood. Let's see. SS is asking whether I'm a comedian, I assume, because I'm not exactly telling any jokes at the moment. There is, I believe, I think you'll see there's some comedy in the beginning of this, in the Moment of Clarity rant. That's kind of comedy and politics. But when I get to the questions, I tone back on the comedy a little bit because I feel like you got to get to the fucking point, man. But in terms of, if you mean stand-up comedian, yes, I've been a stand-up comedian for 20 some odd years. And unfortunately, there are no live crowds anymore. So I haven't been doing the stand-up. We actually have a live crowd normally, pre-pandemic, pre-virus zombie era. We normally have a live audience for Redacted Tonight. Art Terapiha, maybe, is asking me if I still do Redacted Tonight. Fucking yeah, I do Redacted Tonight. Jesus Christ. Go goddamn watch Redacted Tonight. It's at youtube.com/Redacted Tonight. It's all there. Episodes every goddamn week. I fucking work so hard and you people don't even know that it's there. Anyway, yes, it's at youtube.com/Redacted Tonight. You can also get it on portable.tv. But yes, I still do Redacted Tonight every goddamn week. And well, Hazaz is saying RT is pulling RT from YouTube. So all the segments from Redacted Tonight are still on YouTube. It's just not the whole episode, but you can get the whole episode for free at portable.tv. So it's still free. It's still there. Anyway, go check it out. And I think I'll wrap it up there, but I should have another live stream on the latest would be Sunday with Eleanor Goldfield at youtube.com/moment of clarity. Please subscribe. I don't ask for your money. I just ask for you guys to share this, let everybody know, and I really appreciate it. Keep fighting.